Another benefit of coding your own website is that you will have way less platform risk.
Yes, if something goes stale or just like security risk, like you can mitigate all that.
That's true. Like I do also have websites in WordPress and Webflow. Some projects, client projects, I recommend is to do.
And you're officially live.
We are officially live, exactly. I mean, this is just an experiment. We designers, we have portfolios, right? And I'm curious, Tyler, what platform or coding languages or whatever do you use to build a portfolio website?
My answer is a bit embarrassing because I've been using the same setup for 10 plus years now. I've just been updating the same platform. So I use WordPress. I use WordPress. I know. I use WordPress, and I use the Divi WordPress add-on for like the visual editor. The cat's out of the bag.
Well, nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's why we're having this discussion, because I think we as designers, we are putting way too much focus on what tool we're using for our portfolio. With all the uncertainties that come with it. And I think you can already see it in how you answer the question and then my reply to it, which was a bit sarcastic on my side, because I don't mind. So I really want to take away that question, maybe for entry-level designers, because it really doesn't matter. I think the tool A versus tool B is a massive waste of your energy. That's my opening statement, at least.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I don't think the vehicle is irrelevant. I think it's the work that sits on top of whatever platform, whether it's like Webflow, WordPress, or if you're building it, you're hand coding yourself. I think the work that you're showcasing is the thing you're showing. So regardless of like the scaffolding behind it, it's the presentation layer that matters the most. So is your portfolio nicely designed? Are you using the right format to kind of communicate the case studies? I think that in itself matters the most, rather than what tool you're using.
Yeah, I think so. Because sometimes you see people on this design community or just in public, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Reddit, or anywhere where designers gather. They say, "Well, I'm using Squarespace," and then they are embarrassed by it, and they ask if they should use something else. Many designers then reply saying, "Well, you should use Framer or Webflow or anything cool." But I really think in that case, like if you already have a website and you can bring your message across, even though it's Squarespace or anything else that's not quote unquote designer approved, I don't really think it matters. Like if you can do great work in Squarespace, just keep your website in Squarespace. Your clients don't care.
No. I think like for me, like from my perspective, it's not the Squarespace, like the tool they're using. It's more, from what I've seen, is like if you have a Squarespace URL, like that's the thing that I judge a bit. Like what is the gap to purchase like a $10 URL and then just update a setting in Squarespace just to remove it. So maybe there is a stigma, but like just purchasing a URL, like someone would have to. It's kind of, it masks that whole layer. So it's like, I get your website, I'm focusing on your work, and I'm not distracted by the Squarespace /1234 URL that you're being given. I'm focusing on the work. That's only the one, like the one nuance that I'd add there.
Yeah. So having a custom domain, no tylerwhite.webflow.io, like that's not professional.
No, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, if you can, I would always go for fullname.com if it's available.
Yeah. Well, if people are Googling you, that's a good way to rank SEO yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I have my my fullname.com and .nl from Netherlands. because there used to be someone with the same name as mine, full name, and he was, I think, a photographer. It was very annoying that he had the .nl and I only had the .com. Then at some point I saw that the website, it wasn't up anymore, and turns out the domain was available, so I purchased it, and now it redirects to the main one. So I'm collecting still very small, but it's still collecting a list of domain names around my name that all point to my website. Just talking about authority, just to build that. I would say that's only relevant if you are located in a non-English country like I am.
Fair. Yeah. I think like the SEO play is like really important because like oftentimes, I don't know if it's during the hiring process, but oftentimes I'll go, I know their name, and then I'll just put product designer or designer, and then they'll show up. So if I don't know your URL offhand, it's like name, portfolio, like to rank, it's very easy to rank for like product designer and your first and last name. Like, that's an easy win to your point.
I think so. But then the discussion around that often is like, well, does it even matter? Is it going to get me hired versus not hired? Well, I don't think it will make that much of an impact. Like, it's not going to be a knockout criteria, but still, a knockout criteria is like how you present yourself. Like, did you think about the details? Does everything look professional and clean and that kind of stuff? And then having your own custom domain and being easy to find together is a big contributor to that, answering that question with a yes. Like, yes, this person has thought of everything.
Yeah. And also it just feels like unfinished. Like, I don't know, like what is your perception if you see like no official domain name associated to a portfolio? It just feels like it was like recently done or hacked together versus something that's been like this person's like established and been doing work for a while. I don't know if that's my perception. I'm curious if that's how you perceive it as well.
I didn't think of it yet in a way of it's just been put together just now. But I haven't. Well, if you would consider that to be a negative review of it, I do have my own negative view of it, and that's that it's this person couldn't have even get a custom domain. They're cutting corners more in that regard. So in short answer, in different ways, I also think it's not a good thing to do.
But like, and for the platforms, I think it matters. Different platforms allow you to do different things. So like on the execution side, it's probably like if you're into animations or different kind of layouts, then you're the different platforms facilitate that a bit. I've encountered kind of some designers that I've been mentoring that are using a template, whether it's Framer or some kind of free resource, that just like it's very restrictive in terms of like how you can kind of play with the aesthetic treatment to it. So you're really it's one column fixed with, you can't do some like a 2-column layout for like image and text. It's really just like text, image, text, image. So like there is like there's an investigation stage in terms of like what you want to design and like the limitations of the platform that it offers. In terms of like how you can kind of customize it.
Yeah. I think that's an important nuance. The whole reason that I wanted to bring this up was mostly that I think we are overthinking it. But then at the other end, the opposite is also true. Like, it's not like it doesn't matter at all. Like, there are reasons to pick one over the other. But I just think the whole discussion of which one is best, like overall best, is a waste of your time. So what you're saying is like, if you have some sort of creative idea in mind or something that's specific or important to the type of work that you want to do more of, and that's only possible in one of the, let's say, top 5 common website builders, well, then it makes sense to pick the one where that is possible. But I just don't think it makes sense to switch if you currently have a perfectly fine portfolio website, even though it's build in Joomla or WordPress or Squarespace or whatever.
Plus, there's like a cost. There's a cost associated to it. Like if everyone kind of switched to Webflow, there's like the $25 US monthly like bill that comes with like your yes, your portfolio is the vehicle to get more work or to get a job, but like, is it worth that monthly or yearly subscription tag just to host your work that you're if freelance is a bit different because you're engaging, but like if you're in-house, it's the thing you use once every year or once every 3 years when you're kind of switching. So like cost is a thing to be aware of as well.
I mean, that's interesting. I didn't consider that yet because I was a little bit of homework for this episode. I did come up with a list of things to ask yourself while making a choice, but I didn't consider that cost because I am a freelancer. So for me, a good website means more money. But I think what you're saying is very interesting. Like for you, you just need to have it. Like when you know you're going to change jobs or lose your job, then it might make sense to spend a bit more. But like you, when you are steady in your job, like everything's going well, yeah, it feels like you're losing money every month if you would pay a monthly fee for any a plugin or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm paying for the domain. I'm paying for the hosting. Yeah, it's
I mean,
like
it's not a lot, like right? It's like $50 or $60 a year, guesstimate, something like that.
Yeah, if that. Well, I use GoDaddy to host my WordPress because I got a really good deal. I was gonna leave or switch, and they're just like, "Hey, we can sign you up for 3 years for like whatever, $20 a year." I'm like, "I'll take it. It works. I don't need to switch to WordPress. I'll take the cheaper deal. I don't. It's something that I park in the garage and I forget about, and I dust it off, like to your point, when I need it."
Yeah. Recently we talked about having your portfolio up to date at any time. So with that in mind, perhaps look at it once a quarter. But still, that's not a lot of it's not a lot of touch points. Like you're not working on it often. Maybe I think for when you're super early stage, like entry level designer, you have no portfolio, and your question is not is A or B better, but your question is which one. Perhaps it's good to list them quickly, like the main players people can choose from, and when it makes sense to choose them versus not to choose them. I think that would be very educational to do.
Sure, let's do it. I think there's a nuance. Like, I mean, number one, you can hand code your website, which is like if you have that skill set. That was more relevant for me earlier on in my career because I was like doing coding as well, and that you were judged on. So like I think the stigma comes back to if you're a design engineer. So if you're a design engineer specifically and you're have everything hosted in Framer versus building yourself, I think that's where the distinction is. But I digress. So like one is like you can build it yourself, and there's a bunch of like Figma to HTML plugins that you can kind of do that. It'll generate that code for you. You host it on your provider of choice, and you're good to go.
That's true. That sidetrack question is very important, by the way. Like the other way around works too. Like if you want to position yourself as a Framer expert, you should build your website in Framer because it's just a showcase of what you can do and really go all out. So that's a question regardless of platform. Like, do you want to do more with that platform later on? Yes or no? If yes, build your portfolio there. If no, well, continue with the following things. So hand coding your website. I mean, it's also cheaper, right? Just to highlight that option. Like I have hand coded 2 of my websites, and I think I pay €35 a year. That's just hosting, the domain, and 1 email address. So that's very cheap. So it's 35 a year versus 25 a month if you would go for Webflow, for example.
Yeah, I think, and the benefit of like in general, like the process of designing your portfolio, whether you start in Figma or you generally start in Figma or whatever your tool of choice, you're still practicing that dev handoff, but you're basically juggling the potato back to yourself. So you're designing and then you're implementing with the constraints of the platform. So that's a fun exercise also, and that's what you're showing.
I think so. Yeah.
regardless if
Yeah.
you hand code it or you use another platform as well.
It will make you a better designer because the cliche is that there's always a designer versus developer battle.
Mm.
And then if you play both sides, you as a designer in particular, you'll learn like how challenging it can be when you're also a developer, when you receive, unrealistic design.
Mm.
Short-sighted way of calling it, like unrealistic design, but you'll learn how to deliver clean design, and that's helpful. Another benefit of coding your own website is that you will have way less platform risk.
Yes. Yeah. If something goes stale or just like security risk, like you can mitigate all that.
Yeah. That's true. Like I do also have websites in WordPress and Webflow. Some projects, client projects, I recommend is to do one of those two. And then after a few months, they make an announcement that something changes or something is not going to be supported anymore at some stage. Right. Well, that's very annoying if you have convinced your client to make the move to that particular platform for that reason, and then that reason isn't relevant anymore. It's very annoying. So that's platform risk that you're more or less eliminating. Like all you have to deal with is your hosting provider. As long as they don't go bankrupt, you're safe.
I know. How annoying is that like you're using whether it's because I've used a bunch of like translation plugins in the past where it's like, okay, this one it's a free one that I can use for my client, and it works with WordPress. But then, well, in addition to the like daily your WordPress website has been updated emails that are annoying, you have like when you have to update to a certain version and then the plugin is deprecated, then you have to go back to the client. To your point, well, we have to go for a paid version, then that's a cost that you have to kind of knock at their doors. Okay, we have to pay for a new plugin because this one doesn't work anymore. You have to explain what that means if the client isn't super tech savvy.
Yeah, true. I mean, that's just annoying. You don't want to waste your time doing that. So so that's hand coding, cheap, fast, useful for your skills, no platform risk or very low. We would still have to make or announce your preference. WordPress, I think they're so big, like so many websites use WordPress that we cannot ignore it,
Yeah. I like WordPress. Well, I like the WordPress Divi combo just because I used like the Divi. So the Divi plugin is just like something you add on. It's like
it's a page builder
now.
Right?
It's a page builder. Exactly. And it's evolved now where it almost resembles Webflow in terms of its UI. But I used to use it on a lot when I was in my agency days. We used to use that to kind of quickly build out a website. So in the case where the developers were busy, the designers would design and use WordPress and Divi to kind of build things out. Because like the drag and drop, like it's easy to translate a design to a Divi layout because it's pretty flexible. And then you just do a bit of CSS in the background for like the little design touches, but it's a heavy platform to use. It comes with a lot of bloat for sure.
Okay, so when you say heavy in a sense of website performance, like loading times and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like if you were to compare it to like hand coding a thing, like it's leaps and like it's probably like 20x the size for something that's essentially just a presentation website. There's no functionality. It's just like page, like homepage, my work about me, a contact form. It's excessive. Like if you look at it practically, like WordPress it's a bit excessive for the job it needs to perform.
That's true. I migrated one of my websites from WordPress to hand coded, and while doing so, I added a bunch of extra features. So the website became bigger, but the website on WordPress in total was over 400 megabytes, like everything put together. And then after the migration, it was 12. Same website.
There you go.
So that's that makes a difference. So I think like 40% of the web runs on WordPress. So if you let's say you're a freelancer and you want to focus on web design, landing pages
Mm.
for local entrepreneurs or small to medium-sized businesses, learning WordPress makes a lot of sense because it's just so easy to use, so cheap to use. And that type of client usually doesn't really care about fancy, framer specific animations. They just want a website so that people can call them and buy something at their store, and then just move on. Like they don't really care. So with that in mind, WordPress makes a lot of sense. It's just the biggest player, although
Yeah.
we designers don't really like it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, it's easy to use. Like the plugins, you can add any plugin you want, like within reason. And then you can unlock SEO. You can do translate. This it's a well kind of, it's 40% of the web, to your point. Like you can quickly get something done, and it has all the plugins you can just to do whatever you need to get done.
I think that's also the downside of WordPress, because there are so many different plugins to use. And then for each thing you want to achieve, you have so many plugins just to choose from for one thing that you want to do, with the platform risk of someone hacked together their own plugin, and then you use it, you depend on it, and then at some point they just stop updating it, and then WordPress has an update and your plugin breaks, and because of that your whole website breaks. So it's that. Well, that's just annoying if that happens, and that's a risk you're running. Plus, then the bloatiness, if that's even a word, that it can get very bloated, like we just said. And many plugins are premium in a way of it being paid. So I moved yet another website from WordPress to Webflow. WordPress is quote unquote free, and Webflow is $25 a month plus your workspace costs. But I actually went down in total costs because of all the paid plugins that I could cancel from WordPress. So still an expensive website, but there's a lot of hidden costs potentially if you want to do more in WordPress.
Yes, definitely. Yes, on Webflow, Webflow is an option. I mean, there's a bunch of like Figma to Webflow plugins where you can translate your design quite easily. It resembles a Figma or a design tool, so it's the trend, there's still the learning curve, but it's probably less steep from going from, like, if you want to hand code something or you want to use WordPress, it's a familiar tool to a designer. If you look at like the UI treatment, like how you build things.
Yeah, that's true. I think Framer has it even more. Like Framer really is like your basically you're Figmaing on the web, just turning that into a verb, like Figmaing. Well, and it, like, the difference is very subtle, but I think like Webflow, you're visually developing, and Framer is the other way around. Like you're designing in code, basically. So if you are, if that makes sense, like it really took me a long time to wrap my head around it. But if you have a little bit of, maybe if you have a technical background, or if you just enjoy code, Webflow will be easier for you to learn compared to when you do not have a technical background or just an eye for code, because in Webflow they will ask you a lot about CSS properties. And variables and all that kind of stuff. While in Framer, it's more drag and drop and just clicking and selecting. So visual people, Framer; technical people, Webflow is what I would say.
Yeah. I don't know what the risk there is. Like the difference between like Webflow, to your point, like it's a bit technical because it's like it's spitting out code at semantic. So like you'll notice like as you're using the tools or the settings that it's one-to-one to how you would kind of hand code things. So like you'd have the padding properties, you have like the flex box or kind of table settings. Like I feel like it spits out cleaner code. I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience using Framer, but like if you're designing and it spits out code, I'm just wondering what the quality of code it's spitting out, what that looks like.
I can say something about it, but that's based on today's output. or let's say the last 3 months. So maybe that will change in the future. But what I know now is that out of the box, Webflow is a bit performance-wise a bit quicker than WordPress. That's what I noticed. Framer, I've seen a few horror stories on Framer in terms of SEO and how it's rendered. But they are working on it. Like last time I used Framer, they had more SEO properties that you could play around with. So I think currently Webflow is a little bit in the lead compared to those three big players in terms of code output. But I would stay, relatively, because compared to a hand-coded website, even Webflow would be bloaty.
And there's I don't know if you brought this up to my attention, but like the Google SEO rules changed on like the size of your website. Like there's a cutoff now. Like if your website now exceeds like 10 megabytes, that's where it's going to stop. So if it's scanning your website and then it reaches that kind of 10 megabyte limit, it will not scan the rest. So there's a risk of like not having your website be SEO friendly because it can't be crawled to completion. Was that? Is that true?
I didn't bring it up to you, but I did read about it and the discussion around it and people being frustrated or scared or insecure about it, which makes sense. Like imagine you have your perfect website and then it's just cut off and then it means you're losing business. That's not a fun place to be in. At the same time, I'm also thinking, like, if you have a page over 10 megabytes, that's massive already. That's an unoptimized page. So
I think
you shouldn't be in that position.
And like that's like the consequence of like the overutilization of SVG images. So like now you can translate, like if you create a UI in Figma, you can now export that as an SVG. But the output of that, so let's say, for example, you have an image of like a UI and it contains like, it's pretty complex, but like the output of that export is like 1,000 lines just to kind of render that image. I think that's what's happening there. It's like the use of like SVG images. I mean, the benefit of using SVG images is that like the quality is like perfect on desktop, mobile. It's like, it's solid, but like
on an airplane even.
Yes.
No, you're right. When I say airplane, I mean like stretched out on the side as a print because it's scalable. Not on the airplane internet. Yes, so that's true. Like what I know, it's just a quick tip. Like if you are going to SVG export your dashboard, it will also try and turn an image inside of the dashboard into code. So if you have your profile picture in the top right corner for a menu, like a profile picture, that will make the SVG way bigger. Like if it's just layers, then that will really save you a lot of weight in the SVG output. But ask yourself, like, does the image really need to be there to get my point across? If no, take it out. If yes, make sure you optimize the image before you click export. So if it's a 32 by 32 profile picture, but you put in a full HD image and you just shrunk it, the file will still be quite big. So make sure that you made the image file very small first and then put it in. So there's a bit of Figma hygiene that you need to take into account there to save yourself there. And one thing before I forget about that 10 megabytes cutoff is you really need to think about where your traffic is coming from, just to determine if it's a problem or not. Like if you are like SEO heavy, like all your leads are inbound from people finding you online through Google or ChatGPT or different means, then it's a problem. But if let's say you're a design influencer, you have 100,000 followers and people find you through LinkedIn just because you're sharing an image of your work, then it doesn't really matter, because they will find you through social, so don't panic just yet. Take a step back, answer those questions for you, and then decide if you should panic. Full disclaimer, I am a Webflow certified partner, so I'm deep in the Webflow camp, but I'm trying to be as transparent and objective here as possible. Like I'm not a fanboy, even though I work primarily in Webflow.
Well, I mean, to your point, if you're certified, your website should be in kind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then speaking
I mean,
of
it's not something you can just guess. I mean, sure, it doesn't really mean too much, but still, you will need to showcase 3 websites, and they will review it and decide if you're good enough to get the label. So, I have at least 3 good websites, which isn't a lot still, but it holds some weight, a little bit of weight.
Well, a little SEO weight as well.
Yeah, true. I should brag about it more on my website, which I currently do not do. Anyway, you wanted to say something, please. Please go ahead.
I think one that's probably relatively newish. You can probably another vehicle is Figma Make. You can, if you want to stay within Figma, you can now create a website, slap on a URL, and then generate everything in Figma itself. So you don't never have to choose another platform or do that kind of handoff. It'll do it for you, which is nice.
So because you have Figma Design, that's the original Figma. Then you have Figma Make, that's their generative tool. But then that's different from Figma Sites, right? Figma Sites was also something, right? So then you would go through all 3 steps, right? Or am I mistaken there? So you generate something in Make and then you put it in Sites, or can you connect it? I don't know. Well, social media gurus a few months ago told us everything else was done. So I imagine you can scratch everything we just said and just do Figma Sites.
I don't even know if Figma Sites is a thing anymore. I think it's now all Figma Sites. It's still in beta.
Let's just pause a real quick moment here just to consider that. Like when they announced Figma Sites, like everyone was falling over each other, saying on social media, like they are going to overtake Webflow. WordPress is dead. Framer is dead. They're going to acquire blah, 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 blah. All sorts of nonsense. And then now it's a few months or maybe even a year later. And you have 2 senior designers here talking. And then they're like, does it even exist? So don't take people too serious on the internet. Like they're all just in an echo chamber talking the same thing just to get a few clicks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do your own thing. Stay in WordPress, stay in Squarespace. It doesn't matter.
It honestly doesn't matter. It's really, like your, plus like on the job, you don't get to choose what platform your client works on. So sometimes you're beholden to like their choice. So pick one and then deal with the constraints accordingly.
Yeah. I mean, if we would summarize all of this, I think then we would say, like, if you have a website, stick to it. You know, if you can design what you have in mind on that platform, it's all fine. Nobody cares. Get your custom domain. That's important. And depending on your clients or your goal, pick the platform that fits, based on what we just discussed, right? But don't overthink it. Pick one, get started, and go live.
That was a great episode. So if you like this content and want to hear more, please like and subscribe.
Yeah. And if you want to see more, please go to designtablepodcast.com, Spotify, Apple Music, all the big players and more.